Record this computer. Welcome to Sports Curious. Those of you who have been with us for a while realize that this might be a little different format because I am joined by my new co-host, but my co-founder and brother, Scott. Scott, welcome to Sports Curious.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into Sports Curious.
So we've had some feedback that you, all the listeners, would like a little more dialogue, like a little more conversation around what we're talking about in the world of sports. And therefore, here we are to have a dialogue. It'll be a little bit longer, probably about 15 minutes or so, give or take. So if you're used to our 5-minute format, just listen to us on double speed, and we'll be about the same time, give or take a little bit. But today we are going to talk about the greatest great game on grass. We're going to talk about the Masters, which, Scott, I know you play golf. I am not a golfer, but it seems golf seems so unapproachable to me. Like they have uptight rules, golf claps, but the Masters kind of has some fun quirks to it. And what makes the Masters so much better than anything else?
I do agree that golf can feel kind of stuffy and stuck up at times, but I think the Masters, it's kind of like the iconic golf course that everyone, no matter if you golf or not, would want to experience to go to see a tournament there.
I mean, I guess is that because the Masters is the only one that the only major that doesn't change locations? Is that sort of why it's sort of has this iconic aura to it?
Yes, I would say that every other major changes course every year, except the Masters is always at Augusta. So I think that's what makes it so iconic.
It makes sense. Makes sense. The azaleas. Do you remember when they did it in the fall during COVID? And it was just so strange because there were no azaleas. It was all fall leaves. They had to put in like a water drainage system because it was different climate, and it was kind of, it's COVID. We're all shifting.
Yeah, much like
Um,
everything in COVID, it was weird.
yeah, it was weird. It happens. It happens. I don't even know where to start talking about this. Let's talk about Tiger. Tiger Woods is back. He's had a little bit of it was last year he was right back from the car accident. And then this year he's been having a bit of drama with his ex-girlfriend. But now he's back. He's been practicing. He looks a little tired. But what do you think? He's going for his fifth Masters, right?
He's going for his sixth Masters win.
Sixth Masters, you're right. Excuse me. Thank you.
He is still pretty injured based on what I've seen, but I was listening to an interview earlier. He's just saying that he knows the course so well. He's played it so many times throughout the years that he kind of feels like that experience will hopefully guide him to a victory.
And there's no golf carts. Like they're not allowed to use golf carts on the tour, period, right?
No, no one is.
And it's like I could be making this up. You probably know better than I do. I mean, it's a good couple mile walk every time you play the course.
It is, and Augusta, there's a lot of hills, maybe that you don't see on TV, that everyone speaks about. So you're not just walking 3, 4 miles in a straight line, you're going up and down the hills constantly, which could obviously have a huge impact on your knees and your back if you're Tiger.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last year he did really well, and then he sort of just tapered off because I think he was tired, as you would
Yes,
be.
yeah, he made the cut last year, and then I think kind of just fell off after that. So hopefully we'll get a little bit further than that this year.
Can you talk to me? You just mentioned the cut. Can you talk to me about the cut line for those of us who are not golfers and don't frequent a golf? We prefer the golf naps, maybe. Talk to me about the
Yes.
cut line.
So with the PGA Tour events and all the major events, after 36 holes or after Thursday, Friday, there's a cut. So with the Masters, it's the top 50 players, and if you're tied for 50th, you make it to the weekend. But if you're not within that cut line, you won't be there Saturday, Sunday. And with this year, I think it's especially interesting that LIV golfers, their tournaments, they do not have a cut. So they only play 54 holes, which would be 3 days. But with PGA, there's a cut on Friday, and then there's Saturday, Sunday, which would equal 72 holes. So the LIV golfers are allowed to play, but their format is so much different than what they're going to experience this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare.
Yeah, because they've essentially been training and playing for a much shorter tournament, if you will. I didn't
Yes,
realize
yeah,
that. That's really interesting. And the LIV golfers, those who qualify are allowed to play because the PGA does not control this tournament in terms of Augusta National itself as the course is the one who said LIV players can play. Is that correct?
that is correct. Yeah, they're banned from PGA tour events. Like that would be just random tournaments throughout the year, but all the majors are kind of their own entities, so they make up their own rules. So they're allowed to
Interesting.
play.
Huh. See, things we knew we learn something new every day. Let's take a little interlude. Can you please tell the people my favorite golf story about you? Briefly, a
I
brief golf
can
story because
briefly try. Yeah, so I do golf sometimes, but I'm not a very good golfer. And playing a prestigious course, Shadow Creek, one time I was not playing well, and the caddy wasn't very nice about it. And he told me I was the worst golfer he'd ever seen besides Tom Cruise. And he was very dead serious. So I apologize, Tom, for outing you for not being a good golfer on this podcast.
I mean, he does climb to the top of like buildings and does motorcycle stunts, so we'll give him the golf. But I tried one time to make you a shirt that said, "I'm the second worst golfer besides Tom Cruise." And it's really hard to get through because obviously it's Tom Cruise and you can't print that on t-shirts, but
No,
I mean, it's all right.
now
We
we're
we
now
still
we're probably going to get in trouble for this too. But sorry, Tom.
Okay, back to the Masters. There's some really cool traditions the Masters have. One of them that I love, and I've had a couple people even send something to me on our Instagram account at last night's game, that food is super cheap, right? Pimento cheese sandwiches, which are sort of their famous food, $1.50. Beer's $5. That's a lot different than when you and I went to the PGA Championship last year and beer was $18.
Yeah, they seem to have things figured out as far as concessions go with tickets being so expensive. So I think that's another reason why it makes this tournament so iconic that they've kind of refined everything and their concessions are so cheap and everyone talks about how efficient they are too. So you're not waiting a 30-minute line to get a beer or a sandwich. It's just in and out.
Well, in theory, if you're efficient, you can go buy more beers. So maybe your $5
Exactly.
adds up to $30 much easier. I have some friends who are
Exactly.
there who are I guess they're going to Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and they're not even bothering. I was asking them to take some pictures, and they're like, no phones allowed. As we all
Mm-hmm.
know that that's a lifetime ban. But when you go to you could be a lifetime ban. But when you go to a lot of golf tournaments, I mean, when we went to the PGA Championship, everyone snuck them in. It wasn't a, it was very obvious that everyone had their phones. Um,
Yes, there's no enforcement there.
and this is like they're not screwing around. They are not even bothering taking their phones to this because it's not even worth it.
No, smart.
I mean, I'm guessing well, maybe some people, but most people probably only go to the Masters once because it's on their bucket list, right?
Exactly.
Is it on your bucket list?
It is someday. I'm not quite sure how we'll make it happen.
To
We
work on
probably won't get
this.
invited by Tom Cruise.
Maybe you'll get invited to participate as someone who really needs some help
That's true.
for the Untalented Golfers Association.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about now Augusta National, right? It's golf course in Georgia. For those who don't know, it's a couple hours from Atlanta. It's kind of like becoming a member of Augusta. It's really, really hard to get to golf on the course itself unless you know a member, which is kind of a mystery because they don't release the list. They really have no criteria of how members are selected. They named their first black member in 1990, their first female member in 2012, and there's
Hmm.
still only 6 women members. I'm not sure how they know that if the members are not listed, but we'll just go with it because that's what powers greater than me say.
That's what they tell us.
That's what they say. But it's so fascinating to me now. But they do have a women's tournament at Augusta as well, right?
Yes. So recently, 3 or 4 years ago, the weekend before the Masters, they have all the top female amateur golfers in the world. They allowed them to play the Augusta course. It's called the Augusta Women's National, and it's the first time they've ever had a women's tournament like that on the grounds. So it's always the weekend before.
I mean, I guess it's a step in the right direction. We're a bit behind, but it's a step in the right direction. One of my favorite facts about the Masters that I share this with people all the time because people don't know this is that CBS has admitted to editing in bird chirping essentially into the
Hmm.
telecast, which we all love listening to the telecast and taking a golf nap, as we say, because they want it to feel more like a natural paradise. That is like my favorite thing to share with people that CBS has got this little nugget on the market where they they just sneak in some birds because no one's seen birds before.
No, but we hear them on top of Jim Nance's soothing voice. So be on the lookout for the bird noises.
I think that is just like to me is just the funniest thing.
Yeah.
As we kind of wrap up talking Masters, I do want to talk about the green jacket. So the green jacket is obviously we've all seen the images of the past winner putting the green jacket on the current winner. It became a tradition in 1949, and because members wanted to stand out in the crowd so people could find them to ask questions. But the golfers don't get to keep these green jackets, which I find kind of a sham.
They do get to keep it, but only for a year.
What I mean, I guess it's like what, because they're afraid someone's going to wear it out to the Caesar's Palace buffet, and I mean, what, disgrace it?
I mean, you never know where it's going to end up. I guess if you wanted to do that within a year, that'd be perfectly fine.
I guess it's true. I'm sure you probably signed some sort of long clause that says
Hmm.
you won't go here, there, or anywhere else that's inappropriate in this green. They might have to even get approval to wear it certain places. Knowing how strict Augusta National is, I'm sure that's probably in the cards.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we've seen it at sporting events, but outside of sporting events, I really wouldn't say I've seen it too many other places.
Was it Sergio Garcia who got married in it? Someone got married in it. Do you remember?
Ooh, that is a good question. I do not recall.
I want to say it was Sergio.
It might have been Sergio because it was so late in life.
I want to say I think it was Sergio Garcia who wore it for his wedding. And if I'm not, he's now on the LIV tour, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
So I know he wore it at Wimbledon and some other places.
I think it's him. Don't quote me, listeners, but I'm pretty sure that I
Okay.
know someone got married in it, and I'm pretty sure it's him, but I could be wrong
S-
because Rory McIlroy doesn't have one.
Sources have just confirmed that. Yeah, that was him. He got married in it.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And yeah,
I've done my job. Here's my two
there you
cents. I'm
go.
out of here now.
Yeah, and that's a good point with Rory. That's the only Masters. That's the only major he's never won. So he's been seeking that for years.
Well, you know that our household cheers for Rory mostly because that's who my child is named after. So
So
we cheer for Rory
yep,
in our house. Maybe this year's it.
this could be the lucky year. Year 15, I believe.
15. Boy, that
Yes.
like
So he's
imagine just
due.
the therapy that you have to go through from an athlete's mind perspective to check that and not be
Hmm.
just so anxious. It's like going into a Super Bowl, right? I mean, this is it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is the same course for 15 years. It's obviously
Just
in his
keeps
head.
beating him.
Yeah. So that's a big hill to climb.
Okay, I think we should make a bet. A sibling
Okay.
rivalry. Okay, what's our bet? First of all, without knowing the question, you have to pick a bet. What is it?
Are we talking financial or
I think you have to babysit your nephew for an hour.
he
You
has
can
to
go
babysit
you can
me?
go take him somewhere that he can go pick up girls with you or something. It's fine.
Take him to a sporting event.
There you go. See? Okay, you have to watch your nephew for an hour if I win.
Okay. That works.
What happens if I win? Or
You
if
have
you win?
to, if I win or when I win, you have to watch Miley for an hour and take her for a walk,
Okay, Miley Scott Stock, just
which
an
is
FYI.
extremely challenging, which can be extremely challenging. She's very angry.
She's a very special pup.
Yes.
She's like 80, so it will be nice.
She's
She can't hear us making fun of her anyways.
she's feisty.
Okay, who's gonna win? Your prediction.
I know who you're gonna pick, so I'll leave that alone. I'm gonna go off the board a little bit with maybe a lesser known name to a casual golf fan and say Max Homa.
Okay. Tell us about Max.
Max has,
Hit your okay button.
okay, we should be good. All right, and my pick to win the Masters, I'm going with Max Homa. So
Who's Max?
he may not be a household name yet. He's been on the rise. He's won a lot of tournaments this year, and I think he's kind of this underdog story that everyone can get behind.
Was Max featured in the Full Swing documentary on Netflix?
He
I
may have
don't
been a
think
little
so.
bit. He wasn't the
Okay.
main character. He was definitely interviewed.
Okay.
So he's kind of this guy that missed a lot of cuts early on in his career, and it's just you kind of seen this progression. And I think it's his turn.
Okay. So, all right, you hear it first. Max, remind me Max's last name again.
Homa, Homa.
Max Homa. I have obviously picked Rory McIlroy.
Rory,
So, and then we can all cheer for everybody else. Phil is playing, right? Phil Mickelson?
he is. He is. We'll see
Okay.
how much stamina he has after only
How
playing
his calves hold
three.
up.
Yeah, those monstrous calves hold up after only playing 3 days tournaments.
Okay, well, tune in to the Masters for that. And then tune in, obviously, next week to hear our picks. Thanks, Scott, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully you enjoy taking Miley for a walk.
Yeah. Watch Tiger Woods comes and blows us all out of the water.
I'm fine with that too.